Hello friends, this is Scott, and I'm at the hobby farm, and I'm looking at the garden area that I was able to put together this year, being garlic, onions, and potatoes. And then I ran out of time in favor of other projects. But here you see this big old elm tree there. You see quite a bit of shade. Now, I planted the garlic, obviously in the fall last year. Leaves fell off the tree. Elms are not the quickest to put their leaves back on, so we had plenty of sun to start with garlic year. But then we started to get a little too much shade right now. So that affected the harvest today. And this is the more shady area. As you can see, the plants are dying back. So I'm probably a little late picking these. If you let them go much farther than this, what will happen is the bulbs underground will actually start separating and regrowing. So you don't want them to get to this stage. But I found out that I had very few that were separated, so I did okay. So I used my trusty hori knife, and I just get up underneath them. And here's the first bulb that I picked. Now, we have picked a few and eaten them for dinner over the last couple of weeks, and they weren't quite fully mature, but there's some nice ones. And I just got done watering, so these are pretty messy, muddy. So I'm going to do something that a lot of people don't like to do, is I'm going to do a little bit of a rinse off, and then I'm going to dry them really quick in the sun. I'm not going to soak them for any period of time. I just want to get some of the dirt off because they are very, very muddy. But I'm just going to go through with the hori and just dig these up. Now, again, these were planted last fall. These are a soft neck variety, and I just got them at the grocery store. So they're just what you see, the normal garlic at the grocery store. You buy, 10, 12 bulbs or whatever, however many you want. You just separate them out, plant each individual clove about an inch deep in the soil, and you do it in late September, early October, and then you just let them sit all winter. And they'll come up in the fall, and then as soon as the snow hits, they'll just kind of sit there. Again, we had like 4 or 5 feet of snow covering these garlic, and they still did great. So this higher elevation, we're about 6,330 feet where the hobby farm's located. So we're up pretty high, and we got a late start on winter. Now in the Salt Lake area, I'd be picking garlic the first week of June, but we're already at the second week of July, and makes sense because this area is a lot colder. And the snow didn't even get off the ground into I think April. So we gardening season here is shorter, but once it starts heating up, though, it really heats up. Now I'm just going through here. I got lots of weeds too, but I did put a small layer of bark mulch on, which helped them stay moist. But I'll do a little speed picking, and just so it gets a little redundant. But as I got halfway through, I got into the shady area, and I realized that the bulbs aren't quite ready. So I'm going to leave these bulbs for another week, probably, and I'll pick those next week. But then you'll see to the left there, the bare dirt, that's what I picked today. And Mr. Lincoln's enjoying the little bit of shade with me as he hung out with me on a quick trip down. We just stayed overnight. We mowed, and then we picked garlic. That was all we did this trip. So here's what we have left to pick. So I still have half the crop. Again, we had a big failure in Salt Lake, so I don't have hardly any garlic in Salt Lake. So we'll see how this is. But I'm going to do a little rinse. Again, a lot of people do not rinse their garlic, but I'm going to rinse them because they're muddy. And again, it's not a soak. It's just let's get them in the bucket. Let's get some of this dirt loosened off of them, and then we'll set them out on cardboard and just let the sun dry them off. So I'm not peeling skin. I'm not doing all that kind of stuff, so it's not going to harm the garlic any. So I'm just going to lay them out on the cardboard and try to give them a little bit of space so that the sun can dry them off and they don't get any moisture issues or any mold issues. But it is a hot day today. It's probably 95 degrees, and so yeah, a little water on these, no big deal. I just watered them anyway yesterday, so not a big deal. Wiping off a little bit of the protective covering isn't gonna do much if you dry them off and season them well right away. So just going through and cleaning them up a little bit and laying them out on the cardboard. And again, it's a hot day. It's kind of hard to get motivated on a day like today. I wish I was a really morning person because it would be really nice to get up and do this before the heat of the sun or the heat of the day happens. But I'm not that big of a morning person, especially when I'm down here at the hobby farm. I like to enjoy myself, and I only have so many hours of work in me the older I get, so it really doesn't matter what time I get up. I got a good 5 or 6 hours, and then once that's done, it's done. So here's a look at the half harvest that we did today, and they're not all the biggest garlic. Again, soft neck varieties are smaller than hard neck varieties, but these are nice. And again, this is a first year bed that I put I just threw them together last year, threw a little bit of compost, a little bit of screened the soil that was here on the property, and just wood chipped it. And so they did real well. I did not fertilize these at all, other than just with compost. And here's a closer look at some of the better heads, and those weren't bad. Again, they're just a store-bought, so you don't have to go buy fancy garlic. You can just buy them from the store and separate them and plant them, and you get a good little crop. So I put them up on the deck, and I did combine them onto one piece of cardboard, let them dry for several hours just to make sure there was no moisture on them and to get that first layer of skin dried off. And then I brought these in the house before I headed back to Salt Lake City, and they'll cure in the heat. Now here's kind of an interesting look. Some of these garlic will put off little cloves above the main bulb, and those are just seeds. So I just wanted to kind of give you a look at these. So if you see these, that's normal, and that's just another way that garlic reproduces. They come up with their own little bulbs, and those themselves will grow new garlic for next year. So anyway, well, thanks for watching this video, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment, as I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.